The Amazing Digital Circus is a thing that I like if you can't tell by the only thing I draw shaped elephant in the room. Recently, the series concluded its 9-episode run in a big theatrical release that was very smooth and incredibly well received on all fronts. I'm joking, obviously. If you know what a Pomni is, you know that episode 9, the last act of The Amazing Digital Circus, has been extremely divisive with audiences in terms of both the theatrical release itself and the content of the finale, to say the least. As someone who's been following this series since the very beginning, I'm gonna straight up tell you, I'm biased. I'm a big fan of the show. I saw the finale in theaters, and I liked it. And I thought it was good. But, dude, I totally understand where a lot of people are coming from when critiquing the finale about specific things. What I can also say for sure, though, is that a lot of the pure backlash for this thing, and subsequently the entire show itself, is pretty fucking ridiculous. I think now that the finale has officially released in theaters and people are able to see it in its intended way, a lot of the more unnecessary vitriol has started to die down, which is great. I'm glad to see it. But you have to understand, this entire movie, from beginning to post-credits, leaked online 2 weeks before the theater premiere. Those 2 weeks were an actual war zone. I personally had every single Digital Circus related term muted, and even the things I still saw through that filtering were simply devilish. I saw merely a fraction of the nuclear bomb that was the leak discussions and pure trolling, and just that was still so bad and chaotic that I had to practically lock myself away from my phone and being online and all. It was insane. Anyway, I watched the finale and it was pretty good. There are obviously a handful of things I can critique about the finale, but I'd wait until a little after the YouTube premiere to talk about those in depth if I ever decide to follow up this video, because most criticisms about the finale are within huge spoiler territory. But I want to make it clear, I do actually agree with some of the critique I see, and I genuinely read people's complaints and frustrations in full, because even if I don't necessarily agree with a complaint myself, I do understand where many other fans are coming from, genuinely, and I don't think less of anyone who didn't enjoy the finale or felt disappointed by certain aspects of it. But I have to be honest, in my personal opinion, I adore the bold choices made with the finale to The Amazing Digital Circus, even the ones a lot of people are really pissed about. I feel like pretentious artist Squidward saying that, and I know I probably sound that way too, but I'm sorry, I just can't help it. I really like it. I really admire the controversial writing decisions made and the open-ended nature of certain things. It's admittedly very show don't explicitly tell. I'll just say that Goose and Alex were spot on here describing the ending. And obviously, while I love this kind of ending for the show, and I think it was pulled off very well for what it was trying to achieve, I also completely understand that a finale like this is not for everyone. Absolutely not, and that's totally okay. And I do sympathize with people who wanted or expected a different kind of ending. I think The Amazing Digital Circus is one of those shows that suffered the curse of having large gaps between episodes while having a cult following, which led to so many different people just having wildly varying wants and expectations and theories and thoughts about where it was going. It was unfortunately never going to be possible for Digital Circus to please the majority of its audience, especially not for a show as admittedly experimental and personal as this one. And oh my god, I love that. Again, pretentious artist Squidward, but this controversial and experimental ass finale made me feel and think so many different things that I have no choice but to fucking love it. This is a sentiment that I share heavily with Shay Frillis, you know him, but I would always much rather something make me feel extremely negative or positive or curious or sad, rather than feel nothing much at all. I want to be left feeling impacted by what I just witnessed. I'm gonna go on a short tangent about the ending of Stranger Things, but don't worry, it'll be quick and it's relevant to what I'm saying. My issue with the Stranger Things finale is that it's just so safe. Right after I finished watching it the night it premiered, I was so excited and happy. But in the passing hours, I saw all of the fan art and theories and fan fiction for the idea of Conformity Gate that made me think, what? These ideas are so fucking cool, they make me want to merge without looking! What if Mike was actually cursed by Vecna, but the show is framed from Mike's perspective, so we as the audience were shown this illusion that Mike was living in while cursed on the outside, and this whole ending could even potentially be a fake-out with a continuation containing the real ending where Mike dies, but Vecna still gets defeated after causing more carnage? Realizing the potential for a truly wild and memorable ending for a show like Stranger Things made me mad! I was disappointed! The ending is so safe! What the hell, bruh? A show that begins with the mysterious and fantastical season 1 of Stranger Things kinda deserved to have an ending equally as captivating and unique, right? A wild and experimental ending like the ideas that floated around with Conformigate could have made Stranger Things' series conclusion go down in history, however divisive.
Okay. Show me.
Well, Gooseworks and Glitch decided to do what the Suffer Brothers were too cowardly to do, and made an ending to a show that will go down in history one way or another. Because, like, this kind of finale is captivating, even if you hate it. It's making you feel something. And I think that eliciting strong emotions in its audience is one of the most important things a piece of art can do. Put on my beret and call me Squidward Tentacles the way I think that this finale is really good in this way. The Stranger Things finale makes me feel a whole lot of nothing. It doesn't leave me wanting more, and it doesn't leave me needing less. The Digital Circus finale makes me feel everything, and leaves me craving more to be explored beyond the story that we've just concluded. Dude, I don't think I've ever wanted some kind of spin-off or bonus content like I have for The Amazing Digital Circus. Listen, I'm aware I'm saying this because I'm just a genuine fan of the show, but hear me out anyway, okay? I would honestly be super okay with Glitch continuing to make new Digital Circus merch and or new shorts and renders if it meant that the fans' continued support for Digital Circus after its ending would be funneled into supporting their other shows and projects. Like, I may not watch some of the other Glitch shows, and I'm certainly not as attached to them as I am to digitized Circuit, but personally, I just value the endeavors of indie cartoons in general, and I will enthusiastically support them even if I don't even watch. But that's just me. Anyway, maybe a bit of an entitled hope of me, but I do really hope Goose allows something like this with promotional material and loosely canon bonus stuff after this conclusion of the series. Update, I just finished writing the script. The Digital Circus X Fortnite collab was revealed, and they made a fully voiced and animated short announcing it, which is so cool, and I wish that this is more of the kind of bonus content that I want more of, okay? I like it, I really like it, I enjoy this, I want more of this. This is the kind of shorts that I'm referring to.
Plus, it would explain why Jonesy has been here the past 2 weeks.
Fortnite.
I assume Gooseworks is probably going to take a large step back for a while, and very understandably so. I really hope this series never becomes or remains a miserable ball and chain for anyone who worked on it, and that their experiences with the show end up positive enough that they want to do more with it. But one can only hope for the best for everyone, even if that means no more Digital Circus. I'll continue to love the show either way, even if we get no more content. Most of this video has been about the finale of the show and its reception, but I want to move into talking about it a bit more personally. So, I watched the pilot episode a day after it came out, and after that, I watched every episode premiere live on YouTube all the way up until the finale's release in theaters. The past 3 years of my life have been by far the most important and formative for me as a person, and this goddamn circus show has followed me the entire way. While it would be more accurate for me to say that I've had a greater personal connection to Undertale and Deltarune during this time, The Amazing Digital Circus was always right there, just passively waiting for me to start uncontrollably hyperfixating on it with episode 8. So while my unhealthily obsessive hyperfixation started relatively recently, I've been a fan of the show since the very start. I've watched these characters evolve, I've watched the show and fandom's reputation fluctuate, I've watched Gooseworks call Jax a Filipino lesbian, I've seen the entire kid and caboodle from the beginning to the end. If you know me already, you may or may not know that I love Kane. Oh my god, I love Kane Digital Circus. I love Kane. This guy seems like a silly Billy Blorball a lot of the time, but this Teeth with Eyes character has reached into my autistic soul and actually made me do a lot of self-reflection. I don't know how Goose works, but you've managed to make dentures that say wowie zowie something that personally speaks to me on a deeply neurodivergent level. Thanks. Gooseworks Appreciation Week.
It's my movie!
That's most of the general things I wanted to discuss in this video. This is my first attempt at like a proper video essay type thing, so similarly to Gooseworks creating The Amazing Digital Circus, I just wanted to see what I could do. Not even Underrune has driven me to writing an entire passable script in a night like this. I have really bad ADHD, like this simply shouldn't be possible.
Done.
Now let's see how it looks so far. The break time.
Yeah, let me know if you hashtag like this video because I may be so inclined to make more. And like I said before, you're totally allowed to disagree with anything I've said here. I like reading other opinions about the show, so please feel free to comment any thoughts that you have. This is also your preemptive spoiler warning for the comments. It's safe to assume that there's probably going to be spoilery finale discussion there. I'm not going to comment spoilers or talk about them in the comments, but this is just your warning because people very likely will. Thank you for watching. This really was an amazing digital circus. I love you guys. We are Tadsy.